Wow, everybody. How's everybody doing this morning? This Sunday morning, right? I think it's so sort of fitting that we're talking about Prince's music, and Prince, of course, blurred lines between secular and spirituality. And I think it's kind of interesting that we're talking about Apollonia 6, first thing on first thing on a Sunday morning. It's hilarious, but it's absolutely perfect. So, and I'm gonna apologize in advance because I literally bought the Apollonia 6 album the week it came out and was obsessed with it from the first time I put on Happy Birthday, Mr. Christian. I heard where Prince was going with the kind of Beatlesque stuff that he would ultimately do with Around the World in a Day. I heard Brenda. I'm going to get into all that. But anyway, all that to say, as with the chart, I'd never really known anybody else that's ever heard the album. So in 40 years, I've never really been able to talk about the album or have any kind of conversation about it because I don't really know that many people that knew about it. And if they knew about it, I think there's also this thing where there's this automatic thing of dismissing Apollonia, whether or not you don't like her appearance in the film or you don't like one note she hit on Take Me With You, but whatever. No shade. But whatever the case is, I think that my only point with that, because I don't particularly like that note either, my only point is I think that those sort of arguments that are very specific and very specific to specific things, I think unfortunately those have allowed the album, which I think is excellent, to go overlooked. So, but anyway, let's rewind. It was early 1984, and Musician magazine wanted to profile a woman percussionist on the rise. She came from a prominent Latin percussion family, played on records by such superstars as Diana Ross and others. Can everybody hear me? Okay, and toured with Marvin Gaye and Lionel Richie. Musician magazine considered her to be the new generation of Latin percussion. Editorially, it seemed like an ideal time to introduce the young woman to a larger audience. But she wasn't interested in the coverage, which was weird. Like, why would this person that was playing backstage, playing with Lionel Richie and doing all this, why wouldn't musicians wanted to get coverage in Musician? And they write that they were kind of dismissed by the initial stabs at the interview were met with strange. Oh, let me go ahead and. Okay. That's the piece. So, the initial stabs at the interview were met with strange aloofness and vague references to something big in the works. By the time Musician finally got an interview and ran a profile in December 1984, the young in-demand percussionist, Sheila Escovedo, had of course started collaborating with Prince. She'd taken on the name Sheila E and had a hit single and album. But there seemed to be no hard feelings with Musician magazine that there was any kind of delay. They wrote, "Nobody likes to talk when they're busy shedding their cocoon." I open with this quote because the idea of a cocoon relates so much to this period of music and my relationship to it. I think a cocoon is if you read the books that detail every single day of what Prince was doing in the studio, you really do get a sense that it was like a cocoon of people working together. They weren't exactly sure what's going to come out of it, but that they were working in sort of the spirit of metamorphosis. So it also relates to how I use music of that era, particularly the Sheila E. and Apollonia. I can't stop laughing when I say the Apollonia 6 album because it's gotten so much hate. I'm sorry. I'm really trying to be professional. It also relates to how I use the music of that era, particularly the Sheila E. and Apollonia 6 albums, as I was in the cocoon of early adolescence, desperate to understand how to become an adult. Lastly, a cocoon applies to my current position discussing or talking about these two albums professionally for the first time. I mean, this was something I was giving a lot of thought to. I've been writing about music professionally for nearly 30 years, so just a little bit less than this album is old. I've reviewed dozens and dozens of albums, and I've had countless opportunities to write about overlooked albums, underrated albums, desert disc albums, personal albums, and I've never ever chosen to write about Apollonia 6. And I was just thinking, why would a music critic not write about their favorite album? So this question really was sort of in the back of my mind, that I was thinking through everything about talking about this album, because it was really difficult, because it is definitely one of my all-time favorite albums, but I've never said a word about it until today. I was 15 going on 16 through most of 1984. I'd been an avid music fan, at least since buying Rufus and Shaka Khan's Tell Me Something Good at 5 years old. My own money. But although I listened closely to lyrics, I didn't give a lot of consideration to what they meant for my life or any future life I imagined. But this began to change as I was reaching adolescence and getting a sense that there was something changing within me that I wasn't quite able to articulate. And Sheila E didn't necessarily help with this, but I believe her brother did.
You can go back up.
This is fine. Yeah. So I was I was coming to realize that I liked guys. But going back to 1984, this knowledge raised more questions than it answered. I couldn't like Google how to be gay. How do you approach life and relationships and love if you're gay? That wasn't a thing. I didn't have chat rooms or social media that would have allowed me to link up with like-minded teens. So really all that I could do is obsess over these albums, because this was the material that I had. And I think I gravitated toward Prince-associated acts because of the explicit sexual context. But I just want to make clear, because sometimes, and I'm not saying there's any problem with this, but we can be kind of fluid with how we use queer with regard to Prince. And I'm just talking about, I'm not here to police that. What I'm here to say is that Prince didn't relate to me in terms of a budding gay man, because it was always very clear to me that although he was androgynous, he liked women. He never appeared to me to be gay. He never appeared to me to be bi. And so I didn't really relate to him personally. I was more interested in the women of the Prince organization, because they like men and they were unashamed, and they were unashamed about it. So one of the most influential songs in shaping my worldview in 1984 was Sheila E's The Glamorous Life. And again, not just because of her brother. It was the little morality tale that could. The song about a young woman realizing the stakes of true love struck me as more significant than the other pop songs of the day. My favorite lyrics from the song Then and Now are, "Love is forever, that's all your life. Love is heaven sent. It's glamorous." The album Sheila E in The Glamorous Life provided more opportunity for me to explore different romantic possibilities. Sheila sings about being intoxicated by a lover's words on noon rendezvous. We're the Sheila E album fans. I know that's coming later today. Okay. She deals with an unfair. Well, then y'all should like the album. Y'all should like A Million Miles on at Lord Six, because she's playing all over. Anyway, she deals with an unfaithful lover on the ballot. Next time, watch your lipstick off your collar. And she offers a message about relationship reciprocity that I could use, singing, all I ask is a little decency in class. So basically, just like people would write down basically people write down lyrics on social media and stuff now and tweet them out or Instagram. I would be doing the same thing, like in my own just personal notebooks, but it was the same purpose where I was teaching myself about love, teaching myself about romance, teaching myself about relationships through these songs. But for as much as I love the Sheila E album, it could not compare to the Apollonia 6 album. The Apollonia 6 album. Oh. Security? The Apollonia 6 album plays like a celebration to the women of the Revolution and assorted Prince projects. In addition to the 3 women of the group, Apollonia, Brenda, and Susan, the album includes contributions from Sheila E., the Revolution's Wendy and Lisa, Susanna Melvoin, later of the family, and the ubiquitous Can Do Nothing Wrong, Jill Jones.
Yes.
But as I stated earlier, I never really discussed the album with anyone. As I said, I think it's because from the time I bought it, I've never really known anybody that knew it. As with the Sheila E. album, I was listening to the Apollonia 6 album for ideas about love and romance. I was drawn to the songs about sacrifice and despair. On the Slammin' A Million Miles, I Love You,
Yes.
with Sheila E., which we just heard, which was so great, Brenda asks the lover what he will do for her affection. Would you eat a poisoned apple? Would you be burned at the stake? And the driving blue limousine. I'm trying to keep up on the phone. And the driving blue limousine is a countdown of a guy standing her up. But amidst her disappointment, she offered me an important lesson. And just shout out if y'all think this is true, if the women in here, the gay men in here think that this is right, shout out this if this lesson from Blue Limousine is right. Pretty men, they never treat you right. Where's the lies? Where's the lies? And lastly, this was something that I was a little bit uncomfortable talking about because it's absolutely what happened, but it's kind of hard to explain. But again, this whole talk is about me coming out of my own cocoon of talking about Apollonia 6 and my love for the album, so I'm just gonna go for it. Oh, the mic. That's fine. I'm sorry. I get it. So there's another song on the album that speaks to my pre-coming out experience in an unexpected way. It's the album's opener, Happy Birthday, Mr. Christian, a Beatles-esque musical precursor to the sound Prince would explore on Around the World in a Day the next following year. The song is about a very problematic relationship between a high school student and her principal. Let me state this very clearly. I did not have a relationship with my high school principal. Okay? Don't try it. But I did have a principal who was a single man, he wasn't married, who took a special interest in me, but it wasn't kind of like an academic interest because I was a horrible student, and it wasn't like the same as, but it wasn't sexual in any way. It's like now I read it as reading, whereas he would kind of banter with me in a way that gay men banter with each other, even though I wasn't gay, I wasn't out, and I didn't know if he was gay or not. We sort of had this rapport, so it's kind of like I had this relationship with my own Mr. Christian that was sort of different that I could. Look, I gave you the caveat. I said. So yeah, and the more, just as the years went on, I realized that he saw something in me that was developing that I was beginning to see in myself. And tragically, a couple of years ago, I got because I never knew he was gay, and then I dropped out of high school, so it didn't matter. But but anyway, I got confirmation that he was actually gay when I saw his obituary after he had died of AIDS, just like maybe a year or two after I had dropped out of school. So it's this weird memory that, my experience has nothing at all to do with the song Happy Birthday, Mr. Christian, but I literally would listen to that song at the time when we were having our kind of banter and everything like that. And then I can't listen to the song without thinking about him since. So, life is not a fairy tale. I don't even remember his name. I wish I could dedicate this talk to him or something like that. But I can't. And I also wish I could tell you more details about how the Sheila E and Apollonia songs helped me navigate life and love specifically. Like, it'd be so great to have a young adult novel where I fell in love with somebody over a million miles or something like that. I mean, that'd be really cute. But anyway, these are how the messages shaped my entire life. And to this day, I still believe love is heaven sent and glamorous. Thank you.